You moved into Kron Drive in 1962, and you only a year after you moved to Atlanta, so you stayed put in that house for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the most pleasant place we ever lived.
Sandy Springs area, right?
And that is now a city. It's, I think, the fourth largest city in the state.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that's, of course, where Danny was born. Danny was the only one born here in Georgia. But
David in North Carolina, Richard in Alabama, Debbie in New Jersey, and Danny in Atlanta.
I thought it was New York. So when were you in New Jersey?
Well, I was
that.
assigned to New York, but we lived in New Jersey.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It was it was an hour and a half commute each way.
Yeah. This Cesare interview, the agent that I was looking up, he talks about airtel. And does that term mean anything to you?
That's a kind of it's like a memorandum. Just send it's sent just through regular mail, but when it gets to the receiving office, it's given priority for handling.
And he was mentioning airtel in conjunction with following up on leads for the Ku Klux Klan. And so you've just explained to me that it took precedence. So if something came in an airtel, you'd go see and then that combines with what you said. As soon as the FBI starts investigating, it cools down any of the illegal activity that's about ready to explode. The FBI has a cooling effect on.
Well, I don't know about that. You mean?
Well, when you went out Johnny on the spot on the Lemuel Penn case, it probably put a damper on more violence occurring.
Yeah, there wasn't any more.
Yeah,
there wasn't any more.
Yeah, so I bet you know a lot about how the FBI has counteracted Ku Klux Klan activities.
Well, I'll give you an example. I don't mean this to sound like boasting, but we had a Klan organization down in a little town south of Atlanta. It's between Atlanta and Macon. I think the town was Barnesville, that had a very active, small but very active Klan organization. And they talk real big-time violent stuff. Well,
You moved into Kron Drive in 1962, and you only a year after you moved to Atlanta, so you stayed put in that house for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the most pleasant place we ever lived.
Sandy Springs area, right?
And that is now
You moved into Kron Drive in 1962, and you only a year after you moved to Atlanta, so you stayed put in that house for a long time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's the most pleasant place we ever lived.
Sandy Springs area, right?
And that is now a city. It's, I think, the fourth largest city in the state.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And that's, of course, where Danny was born. Danny was the only one born here in Georgia. But
David in North Carolina, Richard in Alabama, Debbie in New Jersey, and Danny in Atlanta.
I thought it was New York. So when were you in New Jersey?
Well, I was assigned to New York, but we lived in New Jersey.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It was it was an hour and a half commute each way.
Yeah. This Cesare interview, the agent that I was looking up, he talks about airtel. And does that term mean anything to you?
That's a kind of it's like a memorandum. Just it's sent just through regular mail, but when it gets to the receiving office, it's given priority for handling.
And he was mentioning airtel in conjunction with following up on leads for the Ku Klux Klan. And so you've just explained to me that it took precedence. So if something came in an Airtel, you'd go see and then that combines with what you said. As soon as the FBI starts investigating, it cools down any of the illegal activity that's about ready to explode. The FBI has a cooling effect on.
Well, I don't know about that. You mean?
Well, when you went out, Johnny on the spot on the Lemuel Penn case, it probably put a damper on more violence occurring.
Yeah, there wasn't any more.
Yeah,
there wasn't any more.
So I bet you know a lot about how the FBI has counteracted Ku Klux Klan activities.
Well, I'll give you an example. I don't mean this to sound like boasting, but we had a Klan organization down in a little town south of Atlanta. It's between Atlanta and Macon. I think the town was Barnesville, that had a very active, small but very active Klan organization. And they talked real big-time violent stuff. Well, I had an informant in that Klan who was a member of it. And he would tell us this stuff that was going on in that Klan and what they were talking about. And they were talking about almost like this night riding stuff up around Athens. So I had that case assigned to me, and I devised a plan which I cleared with the supervisory people in our office, whereby we would, some morning, sufficient number of agents and myself would go down to that town, and I assigned 2 agents to each of the Klan members to go out and interview them early in the morning, and for the sole purpose of putting them on notice that we knew who they were and what they were talking about, and it had better not happen. So we did that, and we got down to the little town. It was early. It was probably 8 or 9 o'clock, but and then each member of that Klan organization had 2 guys assigned to him to do the interviews. Well, I reserved the what the heck's Grand Dragon to myself and a first office agent that was going to go with me. And so, and he was the one talking about real tough talking. Well, he and I went out to this guy's house, knocked on the door, and he lived in a very, very remote area. I mean, there was nothing around. He had to drive through a long driveway to get to his house, and it was just a hovel back there. And so we knocked on the door, and the agent who was with me, I cannot think of his name, he got transferred to California. Good guy, good and capable agent. He walked over to the edge of the porch, and he says, "Here he comes, and he's got a gun." So this guy, I don't know if he got wind of what was going to happen or not, but he emerged up out of weeds with what the Klan was using then as a gun that was named the Eagle Carbine. It was a 30 caliber rifle, but made it look like it was a mean
Go ahead.
gun.
Yeah.
So he said, okay, you've gone too far or something like this. You're not leaving here. I said, if you've got a problem with us being on your property, I said, you're strictly within your rights to tell us to leave. And if you tell us to leave, we will leave. But only because that's your right. I said, and you do not have a right to shoot. I said, I'm telling you right now, if you fire that gun, I guarantee you, you will have 12 shots in you before we hit the ground.
It sounds like a movie.
and so then we kind of backed off, and we turned around to go back to our cars, and we each dreaded turning around. But then the guy said, okay, what is it you want to talk about? So I said, come on over here to the car. I said, you lay your gun on the car first and then we'll talk. And we interviewed him for over an hour.
And he was the Grand Dragon?
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you find out from him?
Well, I guess we did most of the talking. We let him know we knew what was going on.
Because that was your purpose, anyway.
Yeah,
you were not there to get information.
No,
you were there to shut him down.
He could confirm some information. But anyhow, we left then, and everybody got back together and went back to the office. And
what a story
the
to tell.
guys were amazed that, that thing worked out like that. And he said, where'd you come up with 12 shots? I said, well, Jim has his revolver and I got mine. They each hold 6. I said, we would have probably missed on half of them.
Well, that's just it. You look back on it and you wonder how you pulled that out so fast.
The kickoff to that is the next day when I came in the office, I got a call from the informant. He says, what in the hell did you guys do last night? I said, what do you mean? He said, the Klan is finished. He said, we had a meeting last night and we learned that every one of us were interviewed. I think we even had one interview the informant so it would look right.
Yeah.
We wouldn't want to say one was not interviewed. That would target him as the informant. But the Grand Dragon, or whatever title he carried at that time, said, these guys came to my place. He said, I leveled my eagle on them. He said, it didn't scare them one damn bit. And he said, as far as I'm concerned, the Klan in this county is finished. Wow. And they never met again, as far as we know.
Touché. That really, really worked. How did you pick informants? How did you find informants?
Because
they had to be reliable.
Various.
Did you find some that weren't reliable?
Weren't reliable to the
Bureau.
To the Klan?
No, that weren't reliable for your purposes.
Yeah, there was some. Not often, but
so you were pretty good
we did a pretty good job on.
Is it through the interview process, or what do you look for?
It would be a lot through interviews, like I just described.
Yeah. So you had certain questions that you could tell if the guy would be willing.
Well, you do a regular interview. I guess in a way, every time we did an interview of a member of an organization that we had a problem with, you could get a feel as to how stable they were, a little bit about their integrity and loyalty to whatever they were involved with, and you could maybe detect some weaknesses, or the things that seemed to be weaknesses.
What were some of the reasons that they would become informants?
I guess probably disaffection with their principal organization, or just pointing out to them some of the weaknesses in their thinking. We didn't try to be preachers, but we tried to talk in ways that would make sense to most normal people.
Did some of them do it because they wanted to be important?
Oh, I don't think so.
Okay, because that probably wouldn't be a very good.
Important. They weren't. An informant was never identified by us. If he got identified, he did it himself. And those were not usually good informants.
How about agents as undercover agents to infiltrate?
I never got involved in undercover work.
Okay, but that was a whole other part of FBI operations.
Yeah. I had a couple of friends who did do that, but I think in each instance it destroyed his marriage.
Tough work then, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.